Good morning, guys. Just had a bit of a rough morning this morning. Woke up feeling pretty depressed and pretty low. Just struggling to sort of get out of my head a bit. And I was just came down to the beach here, and I was walking around, just talking to God a little bit, and just trying to get my head into the sort of gear, as it were, for the day. And I just started thinking about transparency. So this video I want to share about being transparent and open, acknowledging weakness and being real, I guess, in front of ourselves and in front of others. Something that our culture seems to have taught us is that we have to kind of hide parts of ourselves away in kind of some sort of a shameful show of strength, if you like. So we show our strength, but our weaknesses we hide in shame, and we put them aside, we put them in compartments. And particularly as Aussie men, we've got this fantastic way of compartmentalising things, and it's very helpful when you're in times of crisis, when you need to, take action, that you can compartmentalise your fear, your anxiety, your depression, your struggles, your, what things from your past, hurts, grief, loss. Works quite well, quite very effective. But the trouble is that as Aussie men who are suiciding at a rate of possibly 5 to 6 every single day, can you believe that? 5 or 6 every day. This is a shocking stat. But I can see what happens. Like, we get into our heads and we compartmentalise, and then we sort of get up and we just go, right, boom, I'm going into the day, bang, I'm doing the biz. And we head out into our world and we do the business, and we come home and we have a few drinks, or we do whatever we do that gives us some sort of semblance of normality. We go to bed and then we wake up and then we do it all again. And eventually we wear down, and we wear thin to the point where there's nothing between us. In other words, the walls now between the compartments are thinner and thinner and thinner until they just crack open. And the torrent that's been held in that compartment, much like you might think of a submarine, I guess would be a good analogy here. They watertight lock off a part of the submarine. You might have seen it in movies where they have a leak and they'll water lock that off. But eventually the pressure in there is so intense that it begins to break through into the dry compartment. And so this compartmentalisation that we do, whilst effective in the short term, is actually very dangerous in the long term. And we're seeing the results of that, I think, as we watch guys going off the cliff, in a sense, not only literally but figuratively. We see these guys coming to an end, whether it's a suicide attempt, whether it's again more drowning themselves in more alcohol, drugs, gambling, sexual addiction, having affairs, whatever it is that sort of floats our boat, so to speak. That's really trying to inoculate or tranquilise, to self-medicate this stuff that's going on. So what do we do about this? Like, these compartments, whilst they're working, are ill-effective in the long term and very, very dangerous. We've got to start breaking down these compartments and setting up spaces for ourselves, for our friends, for the men of this country and across the world who can become more transparent. We've got to set up places and spaces in our world, and I'm not talking now buildings or institutions or anything like that. That's just ill-effective. We've seen that. I'm talking about guys, one-on-one, 2, 3, whatever, bunch of 4, 5, 6 mates who can genuinely download some of the stuff that's going on in their lives to each other. If you've never done this, you perhaps don't know the power of it, but it's such a powerful thing. 1 or 2 other friends. I've got 2 mates that I talk to very regularly, and have saved my life on many occasions, I'm sure, without me even realising it, just by being there and being able to download earlier than before it becomes up to here. In other words, once all the compartments break open and the water is flooding out again into the submarine analogy, and the thing just basically sinks to the bottom. This is what's happening to us, guys. We're sinking and we're going down, the trajectory's downward, and to change that trajectory to an upward one, I believe we need to be more transparent. We need to be, firstly, gut honest with ourselves. How honest are you with yourself? What are you denying about yourself that you don't like? The shameful part, the shadow part of yourself. What is it in you that you don't like and that you've hidden away and almost denied so many times and pushed it down? The pain of the past, the pain from your childhood, the disappointments, the losses, the grief, the unmet expectations that have risen there, and just so much that just kind of eventually just clags in and just shuts you down and just overwhelms you. What are those things? Is there a place now, somebody in your life that you can take the risk to share, to be honest, to be gut honest and going, you know what, I'm not going that great. Instead of going, how you going, mate? Yeah, great. Good Aussie chant. Yeah, how you going, buddy? Yeah, I'm all right, mate. How about you? The classic flip over. Classic deflection of our own self. We've learned that. It's polite. It's, you don't spill your guts in, open company, but you've got to find someone, somewhere where you can do that. Basically, there's got to be an avenue where you can download some of your stuff, or else it's going to overwhelm you and take you out in the end. And this is a tragedy we're seeing all around us. So I just want to encourage you guys to be transparent. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. We carry our stuff. Guys are good at compartmentalising. Women in general are better at emotionally sharing and often setting up friendship groups where they can share their stuff. But talking to my wife and other women that I know, that's not happening that much either. That's not happening greatly. So right across the board, we're in a bit of trouble, in some ways. We're carrying a lot of stuff that's just too overwhelming for us, and we don't have anywhere to share it. And we've learned to become, put the good mask on, walk out, nice face. If you're a woman, perhaps the makeup and the, shining up yourself in a sense, making your outward life look as best as it can. We're experts at that. We've worked very well to be chameleons, as a friend of mine was saying the other day. We can put it on in different company, but then we go away and on our own time, when we're on our own, it's pretty hard. And so without that opportunity to download and to, expose those deeper parts of ourselves, they just sit there and rotting and festering, right? So part of the answer and part of the process of becoming transparent and going towards transparency is that it's healing, it's restorative in the way that it allows the inner world to become more in tune with the outer world. In other words, there's less hypocrisy in us, there's more congruency. I think that might be the word. We become sort of connected together. Those two parts of our world become far more enmeshed and together, and have a much more solid front and a lot more foundation to them too. Because I think when we're living on the surface, we know that we're being, in a sense, posers, you might say. We're posing, we're acting, we're like actors playing a role. And after a while, when times get tough, we don't know who we are. We've got no clue who we are. We don't know what our foundations are. We don't know where we stand. We don't know what is going on in our lives, in our worlds. And in that sense, it's a mess. We really need a solid foundation. And when we don't know who we are, and we mix with other people that we've only shown parts of ourselves to, they don't know who we are. They can't reflect back to us our truest selves. This is where my good friends have helped me so dramatically. When I've been down, they come back with, hey, Tony, this is who you are. A friend yesterday was just sharing how encouraged he was by one of the videos I'd shared a little while ago, and how he'd been meditating on that and thinking it through, and how that had affected his life. And it was something about, just getting up and doing, what can you do with the small amount of time that you have? What can you do with the energy, whatever you have in your life, what can you do with that, rather than sitting around doing nothing? And it impacted him, and it got, and he fed that back to me yesterday. It was really encouraging, and I'm like, wow, that's awesome, and again, it helps me to know and understand who I am, and that I have a role to play in the larger story, which gets me up of a morning when I wake up with severe chronic fatigue, and I'm like, oh my goodness, drag yourself out for another day. It's important that we be transparent. That's why I try to be transparent in these videos about my own struggles, and I share that with people I counsel with. It's not normal counselling conduct, you might say, but I share those things with some of the people that I counsel with, and I share that I struggle as well. I haven't got it all together, And part of the reason that I can help people is I understand and empathise because I have my own battles. And so part of this, and I want to talk more about this in another video shortly, which I shall do, but for now, introduction to transparency. How do we become more transparent? Do we need to become transparent? And what can we do about the compartments that we've got that we've locked away? Can we release them and find someone? So can I encourage you at this point? Hang on for another video, come back, check it out, subscribe, like, share this video. Think about it for yourself. Meditate on who you've got in your life, what's going on deeper down in you that needs to come up and out and begin to flow outwards so that you can find more peace and rest for your soul. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll be back with another video before too long, and I'm hoping that this can have a very small drop in the ocean impact that could save someone's life at some point. To find release, open up the compartments early enough that you don't drown and need to take yourself out. So thanks for listening and have a great day.